Oh, you caught me. Well, we're just hot off the press with a new game. Hi, I'm Suzanne. Welcome to my table in the corner here at Suzanne's on the Cosmic Fuel Pump, our little restaurant for food for thought. We have a hot new idea today. Well, it's not exactly a new idea. We've been incubating it for a long time. We are going to begin today to collect the information, to share the information, to create a pool of the information that we might all need for what? For whatever there is to do, for being happy, for creating peace on earth. Now, everything you say isn't quite right. I mean, when I say we're going to begin collecting the information, it sounds a little pretentious even to me. But I really mean we are going to do something. I mean, would I be all ears if there weren't something good to hear coming up? Well, I'm expecting that there is real magic in the air. I can feel it. I can hear the buzz. And the magic is about what we're all discovering on this path towards what? Towards peace on earth, towards happiness. I keep coming back to those words. I mean, they're real simple. But what else is there to do? I mean, do you have a better idea of what life's all about? Send it to me if you've got one. I love to collect everybody's ideas because this show is actually a playing field. I've said it many times before. It's an opportunity that we all get to really come into an alignment with one another, unlike anything that I know of going on anywhere except at my house. I mean, what can I tell you? If you have a house like that, by all means, call me up. My number will be on at the end of the show. I want to know if you got any hot tips. I'm loaded with them. Me and my friends are loaded with tips, which we are now going to assume a new position with, whereby tell me what you know will be our hue and cry. We will be collecting, we'll be asking, we'll be inquiring. Now, tell me what you know doesn't mean what you know about being a newscaster or what you know about anything in particular that you do for a job. That's not what we mean by it. Let me talk a little bit about what I mean by tell me what you know. Tell me what you know refers to what it is that we all would need to know in order to get on with it, in order to create this wonderful planet. And what I think is at the heart of that. What's the bottom line? What do you need to know about? Where should you focus? Well, my opinion is that that the place to focus is on being happy. If, in fact, all of us would be happy, wouldn't we have it made? And wouldn't the planet be wonderful? Wouldn't we be creating great things with one another? And then when I look at being happy, well, I don't exactly think that there are hot tips floating around so much about how to be happy, because I actually think happiness is our natural state, though we are much removed from it. And that's the human condition. It's all right. It's all right to be in a learner's stance, always, forever. That's what we're doing here. It's what I think we're doing here. I'm here to learn how to do this. But it was a game that was designed to be won. So when I look at how to be happy, what I really look at, me, myself, as I walk through my life, tripping all over the place, as I walk through my life, what I really look for is how to avoid being unhappy. It's the things that crash in on me that are the destroyers. If nothing invaded my space, I think I would just be in the Garden of Eden. But we butt up against all kinds of obstacles, self-inflicted as well as inflicted by others, all of the kind of junk that we participate in and leaves us feeling negative. When I talk about being happy, I'm not talking about events that make you go, ha-ha, whoopee, I went to Disneyland, am I happy? No, no, no. I'm talking about happiness as a place to come from, as a state of being, as an ordinary state of being, as a natural state of being, as our birthright, as our goal, as the space of transcendence, the place we will get to if we ever get where we're going. We'll get to a place where it just feels good to be alive. And I call that happiness, just for shorthand. It's much too short a hand in some sense. You know, it needs a whole explanation. But, you know, here we are, week after week, winking at one another. And actually, that is what the show is all about anyway. It's just our winks back and forth. Because in a sense, being happy isn't a collection of data that anyone puts in a book. It's our engagement with one another as we manifest and live the reality that those books of smarts are all about. Lots of kind of admonitions, injunctions, educations all over the place. Much more information than we actually live with, than we actually manifest as the way we are. So here we are on this show, serving as a kind of station to receive and disseminate all there is in this great body of wisdom that exists eternally. We are one, although the illusion is that we're not. And all we're doing in this lifetime is dissolving the barriers between the sense that we're all one, which is happiness, which is that peaceful feeling of peace, coexistence, love between us, among us. And all we're doing is just dissolving the illusions, the falseness, the stupidity that prevents us from living in the space of creation, that has us living in an attitude of negation instead of in an openness to creation. Now, the reason that I can say all this 16 weeks into this show, see, I don't think I could have spoken this way, quite this way at the beginning of the show, is because I live with some extraordinary people who have made a pact with one another to devote ourselves. Oh, not because we're missionaries or not because we're do-gooders, but just because what else is there to do? And all of us, when we met one another, recognized that that was true. I've been looking for people like this to play with my whole life. That's why I'm doing this TV show. If you're somebody like that, move into my house. Well, get online, but there's always room for more of us until finally it's all of us. And I don't know what else is worth devoting my life to. And the people I live with also can't think of any better task than to devote their lives to making all these words a reality. So I am graced today to have a couple of these people on my show for the kind of kickoff of this all ears reality, where we are collecting what everybody knows. And the first people that I want to share with you are these wonderful beings that I feel so good about, that I have such trust in, that we are in this lifetime pact to really become these realities. And not that we're perfect every moment in some sense where if you looked at us and saw us yelling, you'd say, eh, eh. No, yelling's part of it. Yelling's okay. In fact, the hottest tip of if I told you what I know is something I just got this week. Well, I probably got it decades ago, but each time you get it deeper. And the thing I got this week was how okay it is to be not okay. As I watched somebody in the house be not okay, and I was tempted to jump in and yell and scold, and I thought, wait a minute, that person's off right now, and let him just have it. Let him just spout about it. And I didn't say nothing. I wasn't being particularly trampled. I was just listening to somebody being a little, off the mark. And it just occurred to me that my being willing to have that be so, to have it be okay that that person was not okay, was a huge move in the direction of peace on earth, because I didn't go to war with anybody. And that person, when they were finished and felt themselves still loved, dropped it. And the other part I realize of not going to war with anyone is the essential nature of not going to war with yourself when you're not okay. It's my big one this week. When you're not okay, let it be, because that's what's true. And if you stuff it, you get ulcers. And if you expurgate it and you're with people who love you and whom you love and whom you can trust, not to destroy you when you're in the process of doing a mini destruction on yourself. Oh, my friends, the Garden of Eden is at hand, You get the space in which to really be your own teacher, which is what we're all doing these days. The other thing I want to say about Tell Me What You Know is that why I feel it's important these days to do something like that is that I don't think there are any more experts, so to speak. Oh, a lot of people know a lot. But that's just a lot of people knowing a lot. I'm one of them. You're one of them. We all have little bits and pieces of this now. If anybody had the absolute goods, they would be the master teacher and we'd all be at their feet. And that I don't see happening, which means that, we're all discovering this together because it's about being together. Let's look at it together. Somewhere, here we go. That little sign says, let's look at it together. We did this on a previous show. Here, I'll put my sign up here so we can hang out with it. This reality that I'm talking about, again, isn't something in books that you have information about, because it is the reality of us being these high beings together. It's me being off and you being willing to hold it. It's you being willing to hold it and me being willing to be okay about it. It's a process, and it doesn't happen alone. We can only go so far alone. We were meant to go on from here together. So in that spirit, I would like to introduce you to my first guest today, who's actually here to introduce my second guest. And they're both here to just share with you who we all are, so that this talk I'm talking about, what we know, is clearly demonstrated to you as not what it's all about, but it's all about who we are. And hopefully right here before your very eyes, we're going to be with you, just be with you, and share what we know. So one thing that my wonderful friend Alice knows, who is going to serve the function of being the great appreciator today, one of the things that Alice knows is how wonderful Zane is. And just to share all of this with all of you, I turn you over now to beautiful, lovely, magnificent, darling, dear friend, Alice.
You're so sweet, Suzanne. Today I have a person quite special. He's a good friend of mine, and he deserves an inside look from all of you. He's not just someone who's going to be up on stage and be interesting to listen to. He's someone who's coming straight from the heart. He's someone who's open being, who's generous and kind and warm, loving. He's sincere, and I admire him a lot. You know, it takes a lot to be a friend, and Zane is a real friend to me. He helps me out when I get in those horrible places where I'm
Oh, no,
bad.
not you, Alice.
Yes, me. Yes, me. I get there. Everyone gets there. And today I have a special award for Zane. Zane gets my True Blue Friend Award. He helped me out in some positions where I really needed help, and he came through like that. So without further ado, I'm going to, if I can get this.
Without further ado, except 10 minutes to get the pin off. Just, amuse yourselves.
He's my True Blue Friend, and this is Zane.
Tell me what you know, Zane.
We've been sitting around the house for the past week trying to figure out what it is we do know. I've been little by little saying, well, what do I know? It's very presumptuous for me to be up in front of a television camera. And yet I have been on a path of some discipline for many years. And along the way, I've learned some secrets, and I like to share them. They're not necessarily secrets that will be new to any of you. I'm sure you have secrets you could share with me and with us. And so I jotted some notes, and I'll mention one of the things I learned when I was 15 was that somewhere in your life you have to tell the absolute truth about everything. Why is that important? Well, how about what the old Greeks said, that the highest truth is the highest good. And unless you get face to face with what your bottom line truths are, you never really will know who and what you are. And I don't want to say what you can be, because you already are everything. It's whether or not you manifest that part which you already are that's perfect and wonderful and excellent, or whether you choose to show some act about yourself that isn't. Maybe an act that's contracted, or an act that tells lies, or an act that has roles to play. And so I tell the truth. For myself, I went into therapy when I was 15 and a half, and I've been in many years of therapy, every type of group. I'm sharing with you some of the process that I had, so you'll see that it just didn't occur that I'm at this place now. I even was in formal analysis for 3 years. That's 4 or 5 days a week on a couch, free associating. So at those places, I learned to tell the truth. And I didn't go out in the world and share my truth with everyone directly, but at least there was one place. Journal writing, dream writing are all places where you can do that. In fact, we have a game at our house that we'll be introducing to you called journal writing, where we carry a book, even for a month or two, carry a book, and come to a party with us. It's not going to cost you anything. You don't have to join anything. Just share your journal and your intimate thoughts with us, and you'll be amazed at how wonderful it is, because you'll learn something else, which I also wrote down here, is that everyone is the same. What that means for me is that not that we're all exactly the same, and even though genetically we have the same makeups, basically, we have different color eyes and things, but those are superficial. Anything that goes on in your life, anything you feel bad about or good about, anything you feel ashamed of, anything you feel guilty of, I guarantee you, everyone else feels exactly the same thing to one degree or another.
Even world leaders, yes?
Even world
Yes.
leaders. Right. I'm certain that every world leader still has some sexual things they're ashamed of.
Doesn't
Not to
everybody?
mention brutal things they're ashamed of,
Right.
yes.
If they're in touch with being ashamed of it.
Yes.
Okay. So we heard what Suzanne was saying about being happy. And one of the things that comes to mind for me is when you say, how does a person be happy? Well, be yourself. So what is being yourself? Well, start by opening your heart. Why? Because home is where the heart is. Aren't these wonderful little signs? They tell us so
I'll
much.
put that one up, Sam.
Right. So if you open your heart, the being that will be projected forward is the being that resides in the secret places of the heart. The being who doesn't have disagreement with anyone, only has love and giving and understanding. That's a being who we all are. We get very scared after being slugged a few hundred times in our life for being that generous, understanding, open, warm being. So we contract and we cover up and we learn how to keep ourselves from quite such vulnerability. Vulnerability is another word I want to share.
Yay, vulnerability.
Well, it's not only my thought. There's a woman named Patricia Sun, and one of the things I heard Patricia say was that that enlightenment is directly proportionate to vulnerability. To me, that means that the amount you can open your heart, the more you can reveal who you truly are and what's truly going on inside of you, the more you will be yourself. And what does it mean to be yourself? Well, the French existentialists used to say that from the time you're born, the very instance of birth, and I don't want this to be gospel. You can, if it has meaning for you, you should take it and use it. From the time you're born, your mom and dad says, "Oh, beautiful baby." So instead of being the being who you were in the womb, or even before that, this essential being altogether, you suddenly become beautiful baby. Now you're either a boy or girl baby, so you're a boy or girl, and you take on the attributes of boy or girlism. And then later you become a student and a nephew or a niece or whatever, teacher, lawyer, doctor, mother, father. All of these things are roles that we could have pictures of. As you start to accumulate these potential roles for yourself, you lose the essence of who you are, unless you've kept it alive all the time and never changed. But the truth is, I and everyone else generally tries to make everyone love us and accept us. And we want to be loved and accepted. We want the joy of people connecting with us. And we think that if I'm the perfect student, the perfect child, the perfect parent, then I'll be loved and I will have everything I want. Actually, that's not so. If you're absolutely yourself, being true to yourself at all times, being who you are, saying who you are, saying what's going on inside you, you'll actually be much happier. You'll be very happy. It's not a new notion. The Greeks said, to thine own self be true, and thou can be false to no man. Know thyself, another out of the Aristotle Socrates tradition. We come around to the same thing today. Be yourself, but you have to learn who yourself is, because I suggest that we've all gotten covered up with layers of acts and layers of roles. I know that for myself, when I'm myself, I don't have any anxiety. When I'm myself, I'm not trying to impress you by being anything else. Right now, I'm actually just myself, 100%. This is only me.
All right.
I really am speaking without rehearsal. I'm really speaking from my heart. I'm trying to share with you the little bits and secrets that I have. The more you can do that, the more you don't have to worry about whether you're satisfying anyone. In fact, you stop worrying about whether anyone likes you, because you're yourself and people start liking you for yourself and you feel good inside. You're not worried and tied up about your performance all the time. However, that isn't to say that your performance shouldn't be excellent. Being who yourself is an excellent being, a perfect being. If you live your life in a shoddy and underhanded way, you will not be happy. It's guaranteed to leave you in a state of real frustration and feeling bad about yourself. Why is that? Well, my guess, because I'm only guessing with you, my guess is who we are is a perfect being, and we can't stand it when we're less than who we truly are. That doesn't mean you have to produce volumes, or you have to pick more fruit, or you have to do anything better than anyone. You have to try from your bottom of your heart to do the best you can, to be excellent. If you do that, you'll be fine. You'll be really loving yourself. If you do that, you'll probably enjoy every moment. And you really should enjoy every moment. After all, this little life we have, the 80 years or 90 years of it in this body. I mean, I don't have any firsthand information about afterworlds. I have an inclination to believe that God wouldn't be so frivolous as to design us to be used once and start all over again. Benjamin Franklin also said that. The folks at home laugh because Benjamin Franklin is one of the areas of study that I enjoy, and I read about him a lot. And if you saw one of my last shows that I did a number on Benjamin Franklin. So enjoy yourself, be vulnerable, tell the truth. Do I have more time?
Yeah, if you have the time, somebody else doesn't. In our little messages from Central, it's okay.
The thing that I wanted to leave us with is some of us need teachers. I have a profound experience with teachers myself. One teacher in particular taught me a lot, and then he, in my opinion, went crazy and decided he was God, the only God on earth. What I want to say about that is, don't give your power away. You are responsible for your own being, for your own direction, for your own life from start to finish. Take responsibility. Even if you don't, the results will be your responsibility. Take responsibility. If you need a teacher, that's wonderful to learn from others. I want to learn from all of you. We all do. That's what we're asking for. But if your teacher says he's the only one that knows and you can never equal your teacher, you can never be equal, I suggest you pick up your hat and coat and run quickly because everyone is equal. Everyone is the same. You may need someone to hit you over the head because you're not thinking consciously all the time. Well, maybe that's okay to be hit over the head by a teacher for a while. I think you can be more gentle with yourself and more knowing, and you can just learn to love and appreciate yourself, be excellent, do excellent things, still learn from other teachers, but keep your power. It's your path. If you take the wrong road because someone else directs you that way, it's no one else's fault. It's your own responsibility. The only path you have is the one inside your heart. Find it and travel it. Now I feel
beautiful. Oh, Zane, I love you.
You make it better for me. You're so good.
Okay, well, that ties in real beautifully with our first message from Central, which is our place where we quote people other than ourselves who seem to have had a glimpse of what really matters. And in fact, I may not even get further than this first one because it's Robert Mueller, whom I've been quoting heretofore, who's the Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, which blows my mind because he's enlightened and he's beautiful and he's talking loud. There he is in that, worldly position. So I'm going to give you a little bit about what he says, which picks right up where you left off, Zane. This is an interview with him. He says, I believe that the great new historical challenge is to develop love among all Earth inhabitants and for the Earth itself. Now, that's the premise. Now, this is how he talks about how we're going to do that. It is up to every human being. This is beginning to be recognized by ever-increasing numbers of people. It's a very fascinating phenomenon of evolution, I must say. Historically, these visions were only given to or by individual prophets or philosophers. Today, this vision and awareness is growing in individuals. When people tell me that this vision is exceptional, I tell them it's not true. It's a very down-to-earth vision, which is already on the minds of many people. And he goes on to say, I'm of the opinion that we should scrap all the philosophy that's been written on this planet because these people have had the arrogance of developing empty concepts which are not understandable to the majority of other people. These philosophies divert us from reality, whereas the new philosophy is an outgrowth of our knowledge of down-to-earth things. It's all us, folks. Just be all ears. We can collect it all right now. We know enough. Now, talking about the ancient, mystical, heavy-duty wise folks, these were brains working in isolation. Many people send me books and papers on the secrets of the Egyptians and the Freemasons. They denote a similarity between my views and the age-old writings, but there's nothing secret about it. The great mystery the Egyptians and the Freemasons wrote about was that they considered themselves to be part of the universe and eternity. Big deal. But it's, of course, the biggest deal. But we know that too, don't we? We ascribe this kind of superior wisdom just because it's ancient and not right here. I tell you something, I think right here we have the most profound wisdom that's ever been. And it's getting to be egalitarian. Look, that I can do this TV show and that we can talk to one another over the media, the airwaves, about these outrageous truths. Well, don't you think we are coming closer to peace on earth than the Freemasons could ever anticipated? And yet that was their heart's desire as well, for instance. So, this vision of oneness belongs to the people. It's no longer just with the eggheads. Sometimes people say to me, "You're a genius, Mr. Muller. You're exceptional." Forget it. I'm an ordinary human being. I'm a lawyer, an economist. I've never studied philosophy. But I've discovered everything's very simple from the moment you consider that it is more important to be a human being than to be a Christian or a Jew or an American or a Russian. Oh, Robert Muller, I love you so much. I just can't wait to meet you and hook up with you. And that's what this show is all about. What Robert's all about is what we're all about. And if any of you are all about that too, you send for my written material, my diary. We've got it carefully edited so that we can enfold you in the family. And you be in touch with us. Let us know who you are so that we can possibly invite you to our sharings, to our notebook sharings. Well, now it is time. Entering the studio is our high-octane hit of the week. Here we go with our next and last department. Hopefully it will work well for you. I've been talking about Elon, another resident in the Garden of Eden for the last few weeks now, telling you that, you know, if you want to know what it's all about, well, just meet our friend Elon, who's Zane's 2.25-year-old.
Yeah.
So hi, Elon, you're on television now.
Say hi, Suzanne. Can you say hi to the camera? How about this camera right here? Say hi, everybody. Do you want to say something to everybody? Do you want to say I love you all? Can you say I love everybody? No?
Oh, remember, Elon, when we were on TV, we only say yes. Remember, we talked about that. How about singing a song, Elon? No song?
You have to look at, you see the light over there, Elon? So you have to look at the light, and can you sing a song?
How about tomorrow? That's a good one. You pledge allegiance. Good. Oh, that's
great.
wonderful.
That's
I love
wonderful.
your pledge of allegiance.
Can
You know-
you keep looking at the camera? Well, you can look at this camera over here.
Elon, you know where to look now? I have new news for you. Look at that camera, because what we're going to do now is we're all going to say a Pledge of Allegiance that we wrote. It's different from yours. And this is one that we wrote. Daddy helped write it also. So we're all going to say this together, okay? Yeah. Are we ready? Okay,
Ready?
folks, here
Okay,
we
do
go.
this.
How's this, Elon? You want to do
You
this
guys
too?
do this
Want
one?
to put your hands up on your head like that?
Good. Okay, so now we're going to go. Ready, get set. I pledge allegiance to myself, which is also all of you, and to the grand idea of which we are all a part. One consciousness, one intelligence, indivisible, with truth as reality for all. Yay! Can you
All
say
right.
yay, Elon?
You can put your hand
How
down.
about this one? United we stand.
Oh, united we stand for sure. Well, let us go on to read you a little something that was written by people. Can you stay here for a minute
You
and
have
be
to wait
quiet
for a
while I
second.
talk, Elon? I'm just going to say one more thing.
Look at the
Okay?
camera over here.
Now, okay. I want to read you something that friends of mine, the UV family, I've been quoting from them before. All they do is serve the transformation. They tool around in a bus. So, they say, in its broadest meaning, family connotes a shared connectedness, not just with our biological family, but with each individual on the planet, the human family. It is the place where we can experience unconditional acceptance, knowing there's nothing we have to do first. We are family just 'cause. Like I let my friend just go crazy the other day. It's also the place where we're always connected. And so everything we do affects, for better or worse, our family. Because we are family, we are accountable. Ultimately, this will be the conscious awareness of all people on earth. May it be yours as well. Be in touch with us. We'd love to play with you.
It's time to open up the restaurants.
Oh, it's time to open up the restaurant. I've been forgetting to do it. The people have been clamoring outside the door for weeks now. And they're all coming around to share these delicious thoughts, because that's what we're all about. Hopefully what you're all about. And we look forward to lifetimes of sharing these things together. find out when the Cosmic Fuel Pump will be on next week, and call or write if you want me to send you a copy of my written notes.